Just going to take a moment to clarify and explain what I mean by approaching everything you do in the gym with the greatest level of focus, intensity, concentration, and effort as possible. You should almost take pride, as if it were like a badge of honor, to be able to exhaust your muscles more by using less weight and doing less sets and less reps. I'm not talking about doing less work for the sake of doing less work, but because you approach your work with the greatest level of focus, intensity, concentration, and effort as possible, you're not able to do as much work because you're exhausted from the work that you're doing. A lot of people lack those four things because they focus on the wrong things and they try to make up for it by doing more work. But it's about quality, not quantity. If you approached your work with a greater level of focus, intensity, concentration, and effort, you wouldn't be able to do as much work and you wouldn't need to do as much work. The true master of his body, the true master of his domain, his or hers, is the one who can get more from doing less. Not doing less for the sake of doing less, but they can't do more because what they did was of such high quality that they're too exhausted to, and that trying to would only overwork their capacity to recover anyways and thus be counterproductive. A lot of people focus on external cues, how much weight they could or should lift, how many sets and reps they could or should do, how much rest they can or should take based on what the clock is telling them. And what are they not focusing on? The way their body is responding to the work that they're doing. They're focused on the wrong things and they try to make up for it for the lack of focus, intensity, concentration, and effort by doing more work. They pride themselves on the wrong things. They take pride in the work that they do, not the results that they get. So I'm going to give you an analogy that I saw the other day that I thought was pretty good. There's a guy brags about how hard he works, says, I work over 60 hours a week, I work harder than anybody. And somebody asked him, how much money do you make? He says, I don't really talk about that, but since you asked, I made about $500 this week, about $100 a day. And they're saying, you work 60 plus hours a week and you made $500? And he's like, yeah, but I work harder than everybody. I did so much fucking work. And they're saying, why are you focusing on that? You want to know how much money I made this week? And I'm not talking about myself, just for the example. I made $2,000 this week. I made 4 times the amount of money you did. I say, well, you must work really hard then. How hard do you work? Well, I work like 4-hour work weeks like Tim Ferriss talks about. I say, well, that's all well and good and all in your $2,000 that you made 4 times as much money, but I worked way fucking harder. I worked 15 times harder than you. And the guy say to him, where's your focus, man? Why are you focusing on the work that you're doing and not the return you're getting on your investment of time and effort? So when I talk about in the gym, you want to get a maximal return on your investment of time and effort, you got to approach the work that you do with the greatest level of focus, intensity, concentration, and effort as possible. Gauge everything you do by performance because that is what you are rewarded for. You are not rewarded for showing up to a building called the gym, spending time inside that building that you will never get back, and doing things that are written down on a piece of paper as if it were a list of chores. You are rewarded for the focus and the intensity and the concentration and the effort that goes into the work that you do while you're there. And if you do things to the best of your ability, to the best of your capacity, you won't need to be there as long. So that's one of the things I always try to talk about is approaching your work with the greatest level of focus, intensity, concentration, and effort as possible because that's what you're rewarded for. And a lot of people don't actually know how to practically apply it. So I always say, take pride as if it were a badge of honor to be able to exhaust your muscles more by lifting less weight and doing less sets and less reps. Finding a way to recruit and fatigue as many muscle fibers as possible in the shortest period of time. Being efficient and effective with your efforts, not just burning energy and showing up and spending time from your life that you'll never get back and hoping to get a maximal return on investment. Now, you can get results from doing that, but everything I talk about is about getting the best result. And if you want the best result, you have to approach the work that you do with the greatest level of focus, intensity, concentration, and effort as possible. You like the information, share it, click the fucking button at the bottom, subscribe to the channel. I'll keep bringing you the best information you're going to find as it relates to trying to build muscle and get stronger.